In this video, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing with my injured players such as Gabriel, Isak and Trippier. I'm going to tell you what I do differently on Game Week 31 Wildcard that I didn't do on Game Week 30 Wildcard, and I'm going to share the best fixture difficulty ratings for attackers and defenders, including blank and double game weeks. One player that I wouldn't change on Game Week 31 Wildcard is Raya. I know he didn't keep a clean sheet last game week, but he was very close to getting one. Unfortunately, Gabriel's injured. I do think it weakens Arsenal's defence a little bit, but not to the point of where I don't still think that they're the strongest defence that have a double game week. I always planned on playing double Newcastle defence this game week. Now they are my two strongest defenders, especially with Gabriel sidelined. That's against Leicester, but most of the time I will be benching Livramento, and that's if Trippier's fit to play. Eddie Howe did say in his press conference he didn't think there was any big injuries, just a few niggles, and obviously that does apply to Trippier. That also applies to Isak. Now if I was picking a Newcastle defender on Game Week 31 wildcard, usually if all of them were fit to play, I would go for Trippier for the high attacking upside. I know Livramento's attacking, but I would say there's a higher upside there with Trippier because you've got the direct free kicks and indirect free kicks. But to be fair, Livramento is cheaper, and right now with the slight injury risk, because Trippier's not 100% certain, I'd go for Livramento over Trippier. Despite there being the odd player that I'd get on Game Week 31 wildcard that I didn't get on Game Week 30 wildcard, one thing I wouldn't change is the squad structure. I really put a lot of thought into which teams I want to target in the double game week, how many players that I want from those teams, and which players that I want to go for that I think have the highest upside, that allow me to pick other players in other positions that also have a double game week coming up, which is why I said I'd keep Raya. I'd also keep the Newcastle defensive double up. Livramento would be my first choice, then I am torn on my second choice. You've got Trippier, Shaw or Burn. Burn's the cheapest, he's a safe option. Shaw does cost more, he is a safe option, and he does have more attacking threat than Burn if you have a bit more cash to burn, pardon the pun. Or you could go for Trippier. He's got the highest attacking upside, but he's also got the lowest downside as well, because he has got a chance of not playing due to injury. If you watch my videos often, you'll know that I like to go for the players with a higher ceiling, with that bit more explosive potential. So personally, I'd take the risk on Trippier, but I can understand if you want to play it safe. If you want to play it safe, I would personally save 0.9 mil and go for Burn over Shaw. Gvardiol was my only defender to get a return last game week. I don't expect one against United at Old Trafford. It's not the most difficult of fixtures, but it's certainly not easy, and it is a derby. You did miss Leicester last game week if you wildcard in this game week, but he's still got that double in game week 33. I'd still put him in my top 3 defenders because he's got that attacking threat, and to be fair, City's defence has tightened up at the back recently. In fact, I did say earlier that if you wildcard in this game week that you miss Leicester for Gvardiol, but his ownership's that high that you probably owned him for game week 30 anyway if you're wildcarding in game week 31. Whilst there's been fixture announcements since last game week, there's actually been no change to these fixture difficulty ratings. That's because the predictions are exactly the same as what were announced, but just bear in mind that game week 36 is probably going to be a double. There's roughly a 90% chance of that. Whilst Newcastle are ranked above Palace, that's because it's including all of the fixtures, including blank game week 34, but if you're on free hit game week 34 like me, Palace are a better team to target because they've got an additional fixture. Either way, you should definitely triple up on both, and I know that Palace have got that additional fixture. More than any other team, I've still gone for a triple up in attack rather than defence. That's to target that higher ceiling. Moving on to the bench, I've got Areola in goal, who freed up a lot of my budget. He's only 4.2 mil. He's the cheapest playing goalkeeper in the game, and he is sat there for the bench boost in game week 33, which is the plan anyway, and hopefully he is there fit and available to play. I want 12 players from the double game week teams to maximise the double game week players, but I'm not going to have 2 goalkeepers. I do think it's the position that's not worth investing all the money in. Now, one player that I wouldn't have on the Game Week 31 wildcard that I got on Game Week 30 wildcard is Foden. He didn't get any minutes whatsoever last game week, and that's not promising going forward. For me, I'm not going to sell him. I'm going to wait and see. Let's see next game week if he's going to play or not. Then we've got the info from the game week after, so that's 2 game weeks. When it comes to double game week 33, if he looks like he's going to play, I will keep him in my team. If not, I will make a free transfer. But right now, if I was wildcarding, I'd actually have Saka instead. Yeah, he didn't start the last match. He came on and scored, but that's not the reason I'd pick him. I'd pick him because he's starting to build his minutes up. I know Arsenal have got the Champions League. That is a bit of a risk as well, but not as much as Foden. Personally, if I was picking a City mid, I'd actually go for Savinho right now because he's got higher expected minutes, which look more reliable because he has been playing for City, but I don't think there's many other good options outside of Marmoush and Gvardiol. I picked Pau Torres because he's cheap and he's got a double game week in game week 33 and I don't regret that decision whatsoever. He did play the last match, he went and got an 8-pointer, but unfortunately he was on my bench. I wasn't going to play him against Brighton when I had 3 other better defenders. I am planning on benching him this game week as well. He's not a bad option against Forest at home. Villa have a decent defence. And the clean sheet odds are 4% better than the City's right now as well, but Vardiol more than compensates for that with the attacking threat. I'm not going to keep telling you which players I keep on the game week 31 wildcard, not to keep you guessing, it's just getting very repetitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the players that I wouldn't keep, and one of them is Gabriel, obviously because he's injured, and that's until the end of the season. Personally, obviously if I was keeping all of my defenders, I'd just do a complete straight swap from Gabriel to Saliba. In fact, that's probably what I'll spend my free transfer on, Gabriel to Saliba. He's now the most nailed Arsenal defender, and like I said at the start of the video, I know that Gabriel's injured, it does weaken Arsenal's defence a little bit, but Arsenal still got the best defence that have a double game week. I understand we've got the option to wait until game week 33, and that's the safest thing to do to be fair, but Arsenal have the highest clean sheet odds this game week, then the third highest next game week, and with Saliba being one of the best defenders to own this game week, and Gvardiol not, I might make the move now. Moving on to midfield, I made the right decision to go against Salah captain last game week because Everton have a decent defence that's underrated. Fulham also have a decent defence. In fact, they've actually got better defensive numbers and Salah's on the shortlist again this game week. I won't spoil the best captain video. It's definitely worth watching after this though because of course Isak's flagged. That is against Leicester, but is it worth the risk? Just a heads up, I do plan on selling Salah for Saka ahead of double game week 33. Stay tuned. My Palace triple up of Eze, Sarr and Mateta had an absolute stinker last game week against Southampton. That was unexpected. It's Brighton at home this game week, which isn't quite as easy. It's not necessarily a difficult fixture though. Then it's double game week, and I would definitely not change this triple up. My last midfielder is Rodgers and I didn't plan on starting him this game week. I think Forest at home is a difficult fixture from an attacking perspective. I would much rather start Foden, but he has got risky expected minutes and it does look like Rodgers is going to play. But there might be a change from now until the deadline. I don't think we're going to get a leak on Saturday for Sunday. That's when City play against United. But I might still roll the dice on Foden yet because if he plays and Rodgers plays, I would much rather have him. Like I said, it's all about the high ceiling, but Rodgers got that higher floor and that's why he's in my starting 11 right now. I know that he didn't play at all in the last match, and that could mean that I get Rodgers off the bench again. I got very lucky there with a 10-pointer, Jamie Rodgers, but I do think a lot of people will put more emphasis on him not playing than you probably should do really, because we've got the information of last game week. We don't know what's going to happen this game week. It has happened in the past where Pep's not played a player, then they've gone and played the full match the game week after. Then those people don't learn from the mistakes of making that prediction and then go and make it again on players like Foden right now. My advice is to keep an open mind. Don't fall for the trap of black and white thinking where you don't think he's going to play at all and just say that he's not going to play, where actually it's not black or white, it's somewhere in the grey area and that's where expected minutes come into it. I'm keeping an open mind, that's why he's on the bench. I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to play or he's not going to play. I'm just trying to weigh up my options and that's in the form of Pep Roulette. These are the fixture difficulty ratings from an attacking perspective. Feel free to take a screenshot and do the same with the defensive fixture difficulty ratings as well. I'm not being biased here, but I do find them very useful. I update the ratings often too. Now I'm not going to spend time discussing this as well as the defensive ones. There's absolutely no point. It's just exactly the same concept, which is target the double game week players. So let's move on to the last two forwards. Firstly, his last game week's differential captain, Isak. Now I know he's flagged in the game right now, but Eddie Howe did make positive comments about him, so I would still bring him in on the game week 31 wildcard. I do think he's going to be the best captain next game week in game week 32. That's not guaranteed, but I am planning on playing my triple captain chip that game week. Make sure you watch my best captain video. Just to clear up the chip strategy in one go, so in double game week 32, triple captain, double game week 33, bench boost, blank game week 34, free hit, but that's not locked in. I'm pretty sure that game week 34 will be a free hit. I'm almost certain of that. And then game week 32 and game week 33 should be exactly as what I've said, but that's not locked in. That's more chance of swapping around. Make sure you keep watching all of these videos just in case there's any changes. Lastly is Marmoush, who went and scored for City last game week. He's City's number 9, he might be on penalty duties, he's cheap, and he's got a double game week coming up. What's not to like? So the planned transfer is Gabriel to Saliba. If that's made before price changes, that will be announced exclusively on Patreon. Make sure you follow me on there. I will have my final team reveal posted on there too. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos like this.